It's time for Dents and Dreams, a paintless dent repair podcast focusing on how you can use the fruits of this wonderful trade we call PDR to achieve your wildest dreams. I'm John Vidine, your friendly neighborhood dent reaper and host of Dents and Dreams. Now, let's get started. Today, I'm super excited because I have the best guest a guy could ever ask for. I'm sure you all know him because, hey, he goes live on Facebook almost every day. And he's a super good guy. I've known him for quite some time now, and we'll talk more about that story. But I have none other than the man, the myth, the legend, Don Kavanagh. How the heck are you, Don?
I'm really well. I'm really embarrassed, though, that I don't live up to any of that. But thank you, Johnny. You're a great. It was fun to listen to, anyway.
You live up to all of it in my mind, brother.
You're the good brother.
Everything you do for the industry as a whole, and
thanks.
Everything you've done for me over the years. So. But you
love what I do. We're so blessed to be in this industry. I think this is what I was looking for my whole life, and I jumped in and never wanted to get out of the water. You know,
no doubt it is a beautiful trade to bathe in, as you say there. But I don't know if there's anybody in the PDR industry that doesn't know you. Why don't you tell them, when you started pushing, how long you've been pushing?
It's been a minute, as they say. I've been at it a long time. I picked up some tools in '89 and started really messing stuff up and tried to do some things on my own, and it wasn't working out so great. I had seen this guy in the mid '80s coming to our dealership where I worked. And it was a Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Rolls-Royce, Peugeot, all things dealers, four of them, four different lines there. And this guy came in, his name was Jürgen Holzer, and he was the man that everybody has been writing about lately. He's like the first guy that brought it to America. And he had learned in the BMW factory in Munich in the 60s and 70s. And he was the guy that everybody was talking about. And I just was impressed with him by day one, and I wanted to do it. I saw it, and he wanted an absorbent amount of money to learn, and I couldn't afford that, so I started to do it on my own, and boy, did I change my mind very quickly, and decided that I would pay him some decent money to get trained. So, and that was many years ago. So here I am, 31, 32, geez, what is it? Gosh, too many years to actually admit out loud, because then I would have to admit I'm older than 39. But I just love what I do. I'm blessed to have had this journey and blah, blah, blah. So did I lose you, Johnny?
I did. All right. Are we back?
Yeah, I think we did. Where did I blip out at?
Well, I don't even know. My Wi-Fi tried to switch to the house Wi-Fi off the garage Wi-Fi, and it went ape shit. So I don't.
It's all good.
I don't know if we just keep going or restart. What do you think we should do here?
Your call. Your call.
I think we're gonna. Let's see what this does. I think we're just gonna keep going. You know what?
I love that.
I'll figure it out. We'll edit it out. Nice. So you were just talking about Jürgen.
Yes.
And then the wheels of life started spinning.
Yeah, absolutely. He amazing guy. Learned in the 60s and 70s. If we didn't catch that, not to repeat it, but if that had got cut off, yeah, he just was. I mean, to take a few tools and take a dent out, it was just like, what the hell am I seeing here? I knew immediately that I wanted in, and there wasn't even there's nothing that I wasn't going to make. There was just nothing I was going to get in my way. That's exactly what I wanted to do. I could see it. I've always loved cars since I was a little kid, and I just enjoy being around them. And then when I saw that, it was like magic to me. I was like, wow. And I just pursued it and went after it. And I just absolutely love, still to this day, the nastiest, gnarliest dent that I've heard 3 other people have turned down. That's when I roll up my sleeves and I actually love it. I'm built weird. One thing I know that's not going to be on my tombstone is gravy picker. At this point, it won't be said there at all. I just love the body line smashes and the deep creases, and to see what can be done, and pushing myself every day. And I know there's a lot of dent guys listening, and I know they all feel the same way, right? It's like you guys are all probably like me. Like I see a puzzle on a table, I want to figure that puzzle out. I want to see what's going on with that puzzle. What can I do with that? I know I can figure it out, right? So dents are kind of the same way, and I love that they're all individual, right? They're all individual. Every dent's different. That old snowflake thing. And it's just fun, to go at them in different ways. And you never go home being a dent guy and say, what did I do today? I mean, I can't imagine sitting behind a desk and having files this big and finishing them. I wasn't built for that. I was built for a challenge, and I just absolutely love what I do, and I'm blessed to be able to do it. And I've met some of my best friends, including you, Johnny, through this incredible field that we're in. This field of PDR has brought, a roof over my head, and I've got a couple of beautiful kids and a beautiful wife, and it's just, kind of like your name there, little Dents and Dreams. It's just made it all happen, and I just love it. I love getting up every day. I love the challenges of it. And I'm maybe built weird. I don't look at it as a job at all. I know that sounds corny, but it's true.
No, I don't think it does sound corny. I think a lot of us share your sentiment. I don't know that we could put it so eloquently, but I definitely, I love what I do every day, and I often tell people it's like therapy. Like, you get on a big smash or even something that is not necessarily as complex, but taking something and making it beautiful again. And I mean, the type of people that are getting those fixes, especially when you're getting with the retail clients, and you see the look of joy on their face, and
exactly,
they give you all the props in the world, and it just feels so dang good. And
you're right.
I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. So
yep, I agree.
So you've been pushing since '89. When did you open DentCraft, your retail location here?
So I did it that year of 1991. That's finally when I kind of threw in the towel and went and trained with Jurgen, and things started changing for me. I had more of a focus, and I always had a retail shop from the beginning, but it wasn't because it was a retail shop. It was really more to not embarrass myself with the larger damage that I was trying to take on for dealerships, because I didn't want to totally screw it up in front of them. I wanted to, take my time and try to figure it out. And I was learning a lot of things and trying to, do bigger things than I was really capable of. And it was awesome. I could sit on those things for a few days, and I could still run out to my dealerships and stuff like that. And then I had a ton of friends that I still have to this day that just were trying to, giving me their own work. And isn't it that way? Before you got out of training, anybody listening knows, I got something to practice on. I got something to practice on. So it was kind of nice to have a little home base for myself, and to really be able to go in on off hours and work through weekends and just push. I think those first First few years, I don't even remember sleeping. I wanted to be so good, so bad. And I was taking on stuff that I didn't have I shouldn't have done it, but I wrecked a lot of stuff. I really did. I just was taking on stuff and, I'd always say, hey, I can make it better. I'm not able to make it perfect, but I can make it a hell of a lot better. And I learned in the process. And if I didn't charge, they didn't care, because it was, hey, that's the beautiful thing about what we do, right? Hey, when people come to you, hey, we got nothing to lose and everything to gain. Let's see if we can make this thing look sweet for you. And if we can't, we've got you that much closer and that much less bondo, and you can turn it around and you could talk people into just about anything. So I was taking on way too big of things those first few years, but I think it brought me to want to be good at the big smashes, and that's what I enjoy the most. So
yeah, is that why so many dealerships around here expect this quality, Don? Is that your fault?
It might be, but I don't do those guys anymore. It's been a 10-year hiatus for all the dealerships. I am so excited to say that.
Yeah, it's probably not a bad spot to be. Although, if you pick them right, you can get some good ones.
Oh my God, there's some wonderful wholesale stuff out there, and dealerships and everything. I mean, I love listening to guys and learning and hearing them and saying, I think I just did it wrong. I think a guy could only do dealerships and kill it in this industry if you just handle it right. Like Dave Shalott, Big Dave, right?
Yep, Big Dent.
Talking to him, I just love Dave, good friend of mine, and we were talking, and he goes, "Yeah, my when people say they want a wholesale price, I say, well, your wholesale price, his line is awesome. Your wholesale price starts at about after the 12th car in 1 week." So you do 12 cars a week with me, then it puts you in the wholesale. Otherwise, you're in the retail space, and this is how much it is. Do you want me to be here or not? That is just like, dude, boom, right? Just so proud of him to be able to maybe make that stick, And he's one of those guys that can pull that off pretty well. So very cool.
Yes, sir. Yeah, gotta love it. And so many other great guys in our industry.
Oh my God, so many.
Yeah, so since 1991, you've been pushing with the shop. When did you maybe start advertising more or focusing, trying to get more retail customers? Like, when did that really zone in?
It really hit me in 93. I just realized that no one knew about it, and unfortunately, Johnny, you're in my area. People still don't know about it. It's just this well-kept secret, and I just started to go after it. And we had a little kick in the pants, though, because in 93 we had a really big hailstorm, and that was an awesome hailstorm. Kind of put us on the map a little bit. It was the back in the days where there was no matrix system, right? So you would find out what they would want for that hail. I want 10 grand to paint that car. Hey, I'm in for 7,500. I mean, the money was different. It was better. It was just amazing, like giggling, type of thing. And that lasted for a very, very short window, as we all know, and things change. But it's been a great ride. But I think 93 is when I really started doing the advertising, for sure. Just magazines, because magazines were big back then, and even the yellow book, right? The yellow pages, I always thought that was such a ripoff. I do a little ad, just a little ad, and they would get me for like $450 a month. They printed that book one time for the whole year, but you paid it monthly. It was like, what the hell, I mean, in the wrong business for sure. That would have been owning the yellow book would have been it.
Yeah. Well, I used to sell advertising for Verizon Yellow Pages.
No, I didn't know that.
Before I got into PDR, actually directly before I got into PDR.
Wow, I didn't know that, Johnny. Didn't know.
Yeah. They soon filed for bankruptcy, if it makes you feel any better. So
nice.
They might have got you for those years, but they're gone now. So
right. Good.
Yeah, but 93. So yeah, I would have been freshman in high school. I'm just saying.
Love it.
Not to put it that way, but yeah. So I didn't. So you're going after retail starting in '93, and then I didn't even start pushing until 2010. So I mean, what do you think from 93 to 2010? What did I miss, Don? I always wonder this. Like,
you missed a lot of vehicles to work on and I want to tell you, in '93, this is hilarious. We made all our own tools, right? That was part of our training. Made all our own tools. We'd go to the junkyards. We'd pull, all the trunk rods out, and you'd be lucky if you found an old Caprice, nice big fat, some trunk springs you can make something burly out of. And I had maybe 20 tools, maybe even high teens tools to work on everything. And guess what? It got to everything. It was a time where roof rails were open. You actually had windows you could slide in tools to get to these things. And, glue wasn't even invented yet, of course. And these tool manufacturers weren't even, like Dentcraft, I think it was like 97 that they came out. And I got a great story about that. We'll have to come full circle on that. But just a lot of different, things that weren't available that the guys have today. And I got to say, some of my go-to tools, Johnny, are I'm not just blowing smoke here, are your tools. I don't know how we were getting around without them. I mean, we were beating ourselves up way too much. We, we're working way too far over our head. We weren't working smart. We weren't working the right muscles. We were working just behind us, and just stupid positions, and the tool tips sucked, and just the advancement of technology to me is just blown my mind from now to then. So one of the biggest questions to come full circle for you from 2010 back to '93 was just the tools itself it's mind-blowing, just mind-blowing. And so that's
the one thing whenever I hear guys like you that have been doing it since the '90s, is everybody made their own tools.
We did. And I still make tools. I got a guy in training right now. I just made about 10.
Bench grinder, you got the vise. You always got your map gas ready, and you can.
I'm always making
modifying
tools.
Stuff all the time.
Yeah, I constantly do that.
Even if certain manufacturers would cringe if they said,
absolutely truth.
Spend my stuff anytime. Whatever gets the job done. But
yeah, absolutely. That's what we just have to do it. But I'm just not gonna, if you're an inch away from a dent, I'm gonna make that tool make it work. And I'm sure a lot of guys listening are the same way. We just we gotta do what we gotta do. But that's part of the challenge for me. I just absolutely love it when I can't get to something. I like scratching my head, like, wait a minute here, there's got to be a way, and you go and make a few bends and this and that, and hey, I'm on it, and then I'll keep that tool, and maybe I'll make another one kind of similar to it, that type of a game. But it's funny, I probably got 100 tools that I could probably put out to market right now that no one has, and I just don't do it because I look at how hard it is. It's hard, isn't it, John? You're bringing that stuff to market.
It's not as easy as you would think, but it's also not as hard as you would think. So I really feel like there is so many tools across this great nation. I mean, never mind the entire world.
Right.
There's tools all over the world on PDR carts that could be making everybody's life easier. Yep. And I really want to encourage guys to figure out how to bring it to market. And, I've had really, really good luck working with A1. I know there are other manufacturers that are working with techs now too. And I would say that if you got something that is going to help guys, no matter how simple you may think it seems, if you don't see that out there, then give it, bring it,
bring it.
You'll
Nice.
It's been extremely rewarding for me. Like, you go to MTE and random people that I've never met saying thank you for this,
right,
just because I said bend this tool this way or shave it
right,
that way or whatever. And it's been a great ride, and I would encourage anybody, if you got a good idea, just get on the ride with me, because it's fun.
Nice. Very cool. I remember I was mentioning Dentcraft. I remember it was like probably 97 or 98, and I'm at the Dent Olympics, and it was kind of funny. I was working, I was, doing the Dent Olympics, of course. That was back when we did fenders and everything. Now they added that again, so it's kind of weird. But anyway, I'm going after it.
But they didn't have the air gun, right? How did they make the dents back then?
It was all done by hand. And what sucked is they put they put your numbers, not sophisticated as today. They put your numbers on the the little 3x3, sticky card, the sticky notes, right?
Yeah.
And they put your number on there, and you have to go find your number, and you peel it up slowly, like, oh shit, right? No, what have I got here, right? And I remember having one by the door handle. This pissed me off so bad. I was so upset about this for years. I haven't told the story. So I get one by the door handle, and it is wicked. It was hit really hard. It was when the handles were stuck out further on the door. I'm trying to remember what it was, Grand Prix or something. But anyway, it hit so hard. It was 5 times deep as anything on that door, right? And I didn't know that because they were all hidden, right? But then, me, I'm a hammer man. I don't use the knockdown. So all these flippy cards, I couldn't see the light. So I called Tom Price over. I go, Tom, I got to move all these up, just right above it, so the numbers aren't going to get mixed up. Why don't you do it? But I need to see this panel, because I'm, this guy, and I can't work it both ways and put my, hammer and my arm would be on the sticky notes, right? Especially working back at the dent. So he says, yeah, no problem, And I put it up, and I'm looking down the door, and I can see everybody's dents about this big. They're variants. They're not all the same, My dent's by the door handle, it's like this. just smashed. Now, this wasn't anybody's fault. Back then, you pick numbers. You actually pick numbers out of the hat. And then so I just had a bad pick. So we had 45 minutes, and I'm dripping wet. It's my first time and I was doing so much hammering and pounding and beating on that thing. It was just crazy. And that's where everybody started calling me the hammer man. And then I still hear guys at MT call me that. Hey, there's, and it's so funny. It's been so long. But the story goes, they had some shit happen the first couple the years before this, and there was fist fights and everything else. And so actually they would fist fight that night at the bar, which is another story. But so what they did is they brought in this machine from NASA, and they put triangle pieces of tape. And then, because they didn't want to have people judging it, they wanted it actually to be out of the official's hands, so then it would make it fair, right? So there's this guy there, and he's trying to set the machine on there. Well, I was really proud of my dent. I thought I really did well, right? I'm looking down the side of this, all the other ones when it was all done, and I'm like, well, I got this door anyways. I was feeling pretty cocky a little bit, and so they couldn't get the machine to sit correctly on it because the door handle was in the way, right? So I took like 18th place I took like 18th place, and they went that deep that back then. They would say it. They would print it in the paper and everything, you know. And I'm like, oh my God, you know. And the guy that won it that year was incredible. It was on the same door as I was on. It was in the middle of the door, and it was a mile high. It looked terrible. It was, everybody was just like in shock. But they figured out that that damn machine couldn't read highs. It could only read the lows, right? So I was super bummed anyway. But I thought I was feeling pretty good at this. When I finished the dent, I'll back up. When I finished the dent, I was pretty excited about it. I was fine with it. And I was walking out of there, and Sid from Dentcraft says, hey, come here. I need to talk to you for a minute. I said, oh, okay, well, what's up? You know, and he goes, well, I own Dentcraft Tools, and I spell it with a C, and I see that you're Dentcraft with a K, and I just want to tell you, I got a problem with that. He says, is there any way that you could possibly change your name? Blah, blah, blah. And I said, man, I said, I don't really do, I don't make tools, for one. And I've been in business since like 89, you know? And he goes, oh, do you have a problem with my name? You know? And he was super cool and such a cool guy. I was telling Holly and all the guys at Dentcraft about this. It was the greatest story ever. He turned into the sweetest heart of a man. He's like, are you okay? Because I just incorporated in 97, you know, just like this year, you know. And I like, I could care less, you know, don't worry about it. And so we became friends, and it was great. And I missed the guy. And yeah. I never knew him as well as most guys did, but I knew him in passing, and we had some moments like that. So, you know.
Yeah, I've never heard a bad word said about Sid. No. I don't believe I've ever met him, and sadly won't get that opportunity. But everybody over at Dentcraft has always been. They're
such great people, right?
Salt of the earth, yeah, for sure. So
absolutely,
gotta love them.
So, yeah, good stuff.
Gotta love them.
Good stuff.
So that was MTE 1997,
7 or 8, somewhere in there. Yeah.
How many have you missed?
I missed a lot.
Oh, okay.
I actually got so pissed off at that deal, and I was so crushed, and I didn't want to be 18th, you know. I had guys coming to me at the bar that night, though, telling me that, you know, your dent was real nice and stuff. That was great. But it was more of a pride thing for me. I was a younger man, and my butt was hurt. My butt feelings were hurt, you know.
Yeah.
So I ended up at that time probably staying away from MTE for about almost 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 8 or 10 years. And I just thought, what do I need MTE for? Big mistake. I'll come full circle. What do I need to prove to anybody? You know, and I'm just fine, and I'm just not that way really. So I was like lying to myself. And then as soon as Bill Hewlett calls me up and says, "Hey Don, you know, I really, you know, I was always his guinea pig. As you know, my whole shop was full of pro PDR solutions, right?" He said, "You should come help me sell some lights," you know, and I'm like, okay, you know, I'll come, you know, and so I went, and then I was in 100% again. I'm like, what are you, dummy? You know, some of the best people, you know, just these guys that you're rubbing shoulders with, and it's just, you know, again, some of my best friends, and I was just a young kid, and my feelings were hurt, and I was lying to myself. What do I need this for? Well, that was a big mistake, because I started really looking at tools again at that point. And I started, even so far advancing in my career, I started getting better and better again. And I'm like, wow, this is really something, you know, this is really a great camaraderie, you know. When people tell me I don't need to go there, I don't need to know anything, I'm good enough, I'm keeping this information to myself, that's where I think we really blew it back in the day, you know, closing your, you know, which we'll get to in a minute. I just remember that was you at one point. And I can't show you what I got, man. No, this is secret, this and that. As soon as we started all helping one another, I think that's when the magic really happened. And I love seeing this. The last 10 years have been amazing, watching everybody come together. And, you know, I remember MTEs, man, where I'd be looking at a tool and someone would just rip it out of your hand. You'd be like, what the hell? And they'd be, you know, they'd be all tatted up and they'd have their, you know, just on steroids and stuff. And they were, you know, I'm better than you. And I don't even know you, man. I'm just trying to be me. And, you know, us Minnesota boys were just easy going anyway. I was like, what is this? And I had to get away from it. And I was wrong. I wish I would have never let some of those people get in my head, because now it's done a complete opposite. Everybody's trying to help one another. We're all growing as a unit. Even, you know, Johnny, you and I, we've become such fast friends, and we had the Dents for Kids a couple years ago. We brought 23 dent guys, local dent guys together and at Dentcraft, and we had a most amazing time helping and bringing in each other up and learning from each other and pushing each other and getting to know one another. It's such a big thing. People are like, oh, don't talk to your competition. That is so wrong in so many ways. You know, once we started doing that, we've become.
And that day was so great, and
wasn't it?
Shout out to Ryan Anderson. He fixed that bottom.
Yes.
The door smash on that Ford Escape.
He did.
Man.
Do you remember I met with you guys?
A lot of guys did a lot of good work that day.
I met with you guys in the morning.
I had to hold down the other side of the doors on a stand.
I remember.
Because he was cranking on that thing so hard. It was,
I remember.
Yeah, it was a sight to see. But, and Steve DeMala made a video for me.
He did. That was cool.
I ended up using in my advertising, and
nice.
Awesome. Yeah, we have tons of competition here.
Yeah,
I've been trying to figure this out, and I got to do more research. So obviously you were probably the first shop in the Twin Cities, definitely.
Yeah, we were.
How many brick and mortar shops do you think we have right now?
I think there's like if we take body shops out of it, because a lot of them have that, you know. But I think just standalone. And I'm probably wrong. I would like to know this number too, but I'm going to guess 5.
It's definitely more than 5.
Because I think of Q. I think of you sitting in your shop now.
Well, this does not count because this is just behind my house.
Pretty freaking awesome, though. I think of now again. I'm not talking body shops. I'm not talking, you know. And Q is working at a shop. He's got and I'm counting Q, us, your old boss, which I just talked to him. He's a great guy. Finishing. Okay, I forgot about them.
So there's 5. You got Ryan Anderson.
6.
You got Twin Cities PDR over in White Bear area.
I do not though even heard of them. Who's that?
I met him at Costco. I forget his name. I think there's a couple over in White Bear.
Okay. Great. I actually want more, John. Isn't that funny?
I agree.
I think that's what's going to put us on the map.
I would like Steve DeMala.
Oh, Steve. Yes, of course, Steve. Yes. So, you know, and it's funny how I think we need more around the whole country. If we had 50 of them here instead of, let's say there's 10, if there was 50, more people are going to know about us quicker, fast. Yep. I mean, they're going to be like, hey, this is really something here versus, oh, you're working out of the back of your car. Not that that's a bad thing, but I know what happened to me when I've met people, because many years ago we were doing both. I would meet people at their house. I would work out of the car, right? And there's no wrong thing about that. But I noticed that I could charge a little bit more if they brought it to me. It actually made it easier for me. And because we had a brick and mortar, they were thinking that the pricing was different than it was if I came to them. And it shouldn't have been, because it's actually harder to work at their home, you know, with the not the right lighting or out in their you know, it's hot, it's cold, it's in direct sunlight, it's not, you know, and I just love a controlled atmosphere. I can do more work quicker, and, you know, than I can if I'm somewhere or travel to that person. You know, pretty soon what I was looking at was
time and
windshield
time and putting stuff away. I mean, there's pros and cons, I think, to both in customer side. But if I'm being honest, and as a mobile tech, would I rather be in my own shop all day, every day? Absolutely. It's just a better working environment.
I think everybody would feel that maybe that should be the goal for us, because, you know, and I think there's some of the most amazing guys that'll never do it that are phenomenal techs, and major kudos to them. So this isn't any kind of picking or pushing, but what's interesting about it being at your shop is you, like the windshield time you just said. I immediately, when I just decided to get rid of all the dealerships, and I'll tell that story in a minute, though the few people probably haven't heard it, and I've got it condensed way down now, but I found that I could do about 3 to 7 jobs more per day per guy, right? So the bottom line was, whoa, we have just grown overnight immensely. And then this beautiful thing called Mobile Tech RX came out, and where I had, you know, you've been to the shop, Johnny, we've got people walking in all the time for estimates. And back in the day, when I would step off the curb and look at a dent on a Mercedes, and not that I cared if it was a Mercedes or a Volkswagen, I would say that's like $300. And the guy would look at me, and he'd look at his Rolex, and he'd look at his Mercedes, and he'd look at me, and he goes, man, you know, like I was profiling him to get $300 for that dent, right? And so I noticed immediately. So my closing rate then was like 60%. We feel like we're in the mid 90% tile now with Mobile Tech RX, because I don't know, sir. Let's take a look. And I just run them through everything like we all do, you know, scanning the bin. Oh, this is what we got here, sir. And then I always let them see. I went from the phone to the iPad. This iPad is made a difference overnight, because they could really see what we were doing. Hey, you got a 3-inch dent. Would you agree? Yep. Well, you have a 4-inch dent actually, but let's mark down 3. Oh, I'm already on this side, right? Okay, 3 inches. Great. All right. Well, you threw a body line here, sir. Yep, I see that. A little bit of a crease to it. You had all these variables up, and all of a sudden, $300 dent turns into $552, and they're like, let's do it. And it was like really incredible, because it took me out of play. Is it worth $552? Are we screwing our customer? Absolutely not. We're still saving them money, but there was a structured look at that, and they okayed that, and they loved that portion. So I think that that's an important thing to the puzzle. It makes us all uniform.
Yeah, and even if you don't have Mobile Tech RX, you put the same thing on one of these cards. I'm telling you, you don't even have to go to those lengths. I do kind of a combo deal now, but I can go up, measure a dent. Look at this. Oh, okay, about 4 inches. Yeah, about do some quick math. Yeah, we're at about 475, and not get a blink. And when I was, you know, pulling numbers out of my hat back in the day, they would have been lower, and I would have cled less. So having that system in place is huge, and anybody who's not doing that needs to jump on.
You have to get on right away. And what I love about it is the $100. We have a couple iPads, so we pay $100 a month. Second one's $35, first one's $65, whatever. But what I love about it is I'm saving so much time with my girl in the office. I am saving. I used to handwrite shit. I was in the dark ages. I mean, I have to flip through every month, you know, do my stuff. Now it just boom, loads into QuickBooks. I just have a girl that comes in 1 day a week, and she can handle everything instead of being there two and a half days, sometimes a week. I can get it down to 1 day a week. It saves me, and it's easy for me to figure out. And I love it now for me. And I know a lot of you guys have this going on, but when I would do verbal quotes back in the day, I would have someone come in, and I think they're obviously being very dishonest, but you look at it and you'd say that was a $500 dent even before Mobile Tech RX, and now it's a $700 dent. And they would look at me and they say, you told me a year ago you do this for $100. Wow. And you know how many times I would actually fold and do it? Every single time, because I can't afford a bad review, even though I know the guy's screwing me royally. And luckily these people are far and in between. Usually people are so great and so nice and so gracious. And I haven't had anybody like that for a few years. But what I'm saying is I can actually go now. If someone does say it's $200 or $300 or whatever, well, let's, scan the VIN, duplicate invoice, and boom. You know what looks like you were here on July 22nd, and it wasn't $200. It was actually $400. And oh my God, I don't remember it like that. Can we get it on the schedule? Absolutely. And you're not mad at me. I'm not calling them out, right? I'm not saying, hey, you're telling a fib here. Yeah. I have documentation of that, and they're like, okay. So it's funny. I think some people maybe actually remembered it differently too. I don't know, but it's nice to have that in your arsenal and all those things, and not having to. In the old days, I'd have to dig through a stack of them like this. Like, what did I actually tell that guy that? So
I can remember, having to dig through yellow copies or pink copies of invoices. You got the three.
Such a nightmare. Such a nightmare.
Gotta love the technology.
Oh yeah.
So speaking of remembering things, I can remember fondly a day. When was that? Probably 07, 8?
Probably.
No. Hold on. I didn't start pushing until 2010. So I would have been about 5 to 6 years in probably at that point. So it would have been 15. Probably right around
about 6 years ago.
Yeah. And
great day.
2015. I'm working on a car on a lot, and this guy comes up to me and he's like, "Hey man, how you doing?" I turn around and it's you. And I knew who you were. I'd been on your website more times than is probably normal. Sorry about that. And I try to stay familiar with with everything. And there wasn't a ton of information even back then. I think the Facebook groups and stuff were just starting to kick off. Some of the podcasts were just starting to kick off. And so you were super friendly to me, and I shut you down flat.
It was crazy.
How did it from your point of view? What did you see in here?
So it was so funny because I called, and their parts department. This was a GMC dealership that Johnny was working at. And I called them, and I needed I actually dropped the freaking taillight taking it out. It slipped out of my hands. I was in a hurry, chipped the corner of it, and the customer was coming in like a few hours. And at the end of the day, and I called, and they had it. So I go, well, the parts truck's not going to be able to get it here. I'm going down myself. So I blast in there. I get the part. I'm coming out. And I saw you on the way in, but I'm going to go say hi to him on the way out. So you're over there in the hot sun just working away, and I remember walking up to you and saying, "Hey man, how's it going?" And the look on your face was amazing. You were so scared, and I thought it was so weird that it had that reception from you. And so I started looking at your tools, and you walked over and you closed the toolbox. You go, "Man, I can't talk to you. Can't do it. I would actually lose my job. If I talk to you right now and my boss knew it, I can't do it, man. I know who you are and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't know you, man. How are you? How are you? And you're like, man, you really got to go. You got to go. And I'm like, we're here alone in this lot. Like, how does this work? You know? And then I remember, was it a PT Cruiser?
Scion XB.
A Scion.
Toaster, yeah.
So
great cars, by the way. If anybody wants a good little car to work out of mobily.
You had that set up really well. So then I remember his hatch was open and he had a bunch of tools over here. So I'm walking that way anyway. And I kind of hesitated a little bit over by the Scion and was looking at his setup there. And then all of a sudden the hatch started closing on that. And he goes, man, you got to go. You got to go. And I remember saying, I said, hey, and I did get your name. I think I got John out of you at least. And I said, John, I want to do something with you. I want to invite you to come to the shop. Anytime you want to come to the shop, I want you to look at every tool that I have here. If you want to borrow a tool, if you need advice on anything, you need to come by. I'm an open book. And you're looking at me like I shot your dog. Like, what?
Yeah, I thought you were crazy.
Yeah.
I really did.
Yeah.
At that time.
Yeah. It was funny.
Yeah. And you were super nice. And now hearing that you were there I just thought you were getting parts for, belt moldings and stuff for a hail car. But you actually had to be in somewhat of a bad mood because you just broke a taillight. And you were still super nice to me.
It was just one of those things.
Yeah, you did invite me. And funny enough, another one of my dealers, actually the Infinity dealer right next door, had a WEO at the Clear Bra place right down the road from you.
Same building.
And I drove by. And as I was going into the appointment, my head was cranked, trying to see. You had
the back door was open. It was a nice day or something, right?
Yeah. So I went and did the little ding fender on an Infinity or something. And then I crawled past that door like super slow looking. And you come running out and you're like, hey, I remember you. Get in here. So I parked the car and went in and, mind blown. I never seen that many tools in one place in my life. And, yeah, you were super cool. Gave me the full tour and yeah, we shot the breeze for a little bit before I left. And that probably was the beginning of the turning point for me where it was like, all right, I'm looking at this completely wrong and I need to
collaborate, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We need to lift everybody else up and not hide everything, right?
Yeah.
But, it does me no good. I realized this probably about 15 years ago, and I was there for a long time. I didn't want to share anything with anybody. I knew of competition. I didn't want to do it. And then I started thinking to myself differently. And I was like, I would rather have a bunch of really good guys. I actually love it when I hear there's a new guy in our area, John. That's awesome. People are like telling me because they're bummed for me. And I'm like, that is the best news I've ever heard in my life, because there's enough bad guys out there that are doing such shitty work. And then they're doing shitty work and they're doing it for a guy that's never heard of what we're doing. And he tells everybody that paintless dent removal shit, it doesn't work, right? Yeah. So it's a detriment to us to have shitty guys out there trying to, pass themselves off as being good. And because we, in our area, we're not like down south, it's 2 out of 10, 3 out of 10, maybe have heard of it. 1 out of 10 have had it done. And it is the most crazy, well-kept secret up here that, actually all over the world, honestly, it still is. It's still not a household name by any stretch, but we're very,
we need to do, Don? Next year, me and you, we're going to the state fair, and before we hit the beer garden too hard, we got to walk around with a GoPro and just ask people.
Let's do that.
Straight up.
Let's
what
do
is
it.
Paintless Dent Repair? And just ask them. And
yes.
And then
I did do that at a bar one time about 5 years ago. It was packed, and I was on the upper deal, and I screamed it out, and everybody thought I was swearing or something. No one was really listening. They're like, "What?" You know, I needed to say, "Hey, I need your attention. I needed a microphone or something." So I was like, "Okay, goodbye." You know.
maybe
But people just don't know. And when they do know, they get it, and they have it done over and over and over again. And it's an amazing feeling when you can get rid of, for me, just to reiterate, a few of you guys have heard this story, but for me, and the reason I went 100% retail was I was doing a job at the shop about 10 years ago, working on a Mercedes, had a pretty big smash in the door. And ironically, the Mercedes dealership called me, Mercedes dealership. And they said, "Hey, we got a dent here at the guy named was Bill Bloom, a super guy, had a dent in a service car. And the customer wanted it done. So he said, I needed it done today." And I'm like, "Oh, shit. I'm here. I got my retail job. Supposed to be done at the end of the day. But I pack all my stuff up, and I head up to the dealership because it was my old alma mater. And I was a service writer there. It's where I met Jurgen, right? So I just wanted to help them out. And it was a $200 dent, not a big deal. But I was standing on this side of the screen from him because I knew him so well, and I was a writer there. He was actually a writer as well. I knew that counter like nobody else because I had worked there for 5 years, doing 6 years doing that. So he's putting in the deal, and he goes, "This one's going to sting, Donnie." And I'm like, "What?" And he put in 400 instead of 200, what he's paying me, right? Because he had to put it down for what I was getting. And then but it had to charge it out on the RO. And because I understood the whole situation, I saw what happened there. I'm like, ooh, I knew you guys were stepping on it, but I just didn't quite know 100%. Like, what the hell? So no big deal. I get home, walking the door. Kimmy knows me so well. She's like, "What's wrong?" And I told her, and she's, "It's because they marked it up." And I said, "No, it's not." She went to bed that night. I'm pacing, trying to figure it out. And it hit me like a ton of bricks, just hit me like a ton of bricks. I realized, you know what? That guy is going to come and pick his Mercedes up. He's going to love it. It was a nice body line smash. He's going to have no problem paying $400. And he's going to tell every one of his friends that he had that done in Sears and Portadatos, does the best work. I don't know what it's called. I don't know if it's PDR, whatever, dent removal, paint removal, how they always used to call it back in the day, And it simply was, oh my God, what am I doing to myself? And then it got worse because I had 30 dealerships with 7 guys, and we were running around with our heads chopped off, taking care of all these dealerships. So I took a step back and I realized for the last 20 years, I have built up 30 dealerships. I have made them my own direct competition. All 30 dealerships are basically taking all the credit for it. If I would have done it differently and gone retail right away, the money was good, so it was kind of hard not to take it, and I thought everything was great. But I had to pay my guys weekly, but yet I'd get paid in 30, 60, 90 days from these dealerships. I felt like a money launderer. It was like, this doesn't seem right. It just bugged the hell out of me. And so I just, overnight, that's when I said, I'm done with the dealerships. I can't let them win anymore. And that's why I went 100% retail about almost 10 years ago and just got out of the rat race. That first year or two, I was skimming by. I mean, it was great that I could park my truck out back, but it wasn't magic. It wasn't like, oh, I flipped the switch, because I was only doing so much retail and mostly whole, you know what I mean? So it was like, ooh. So, but got very blessed and just really worked it hard. And within a few years, I had it to where it was before, but I was parking my truck out back. And we were getting all the credit, and the customers were coming to us, and we started training them that we're good at what we do, and we appreciate them, and all those things. And I think it's really important to mean it, and I do. We always tell everybody every time they come in, it's not about today, and I mean this. This isn't a bullshit line. It's not about today, ma'am or sir. We want you forever. And we're going to do everything we can to blow you away. And we're going to, we're going to roll out the red carpet for you. And I always do. I always try to over deliver. I always try to do a couple other dings for free. I point them out to them and say, well, that'd normally be on every day, but no big deal. Just so they know they're there, and then try to take care of them and deliver it, with a couple extra dings done for them or whatever I can possibly do. If I happen to have that touch-up paint, I'll do a couple of little chips for them or something, and just try to over-deliver every single time. And it's amazing how the reviews start coming in, and then you can start growing off of that. And I'm just so humbled by what we do. But unfortunately, you and I both know we're touching about 5% of the population here in Minnesota. We could all do much better, much better. So,
tons of work out there getting done in the wrong way, and there's the good news is there's so much room for growth. So,
there is.
And I thank you, Don, for being a stand-up businessman, a stand-up company in our industry. And
thank you, bud.
As my direct competitor, I couldn't ask for anything better. The more guys like you out there, the better it is for all of us. I really do believe that, and
I appreciate it.
Forces everybody to step up their game, and hopefully they all do. But
I think everybody
say there might be 8 or 10 PDR shops in our market. How many hundreds of body shops are there?
Well, I think I looked at this about 15 years ago, Johnny. It's going to blow your mind because I know it's grown, and I only went with decent sized body shops. In the 7-county metro area, there was over 200 body shops. 7-county metro. I mean, that's pretty crazy. So I bet it's doubled by now, because that long ago, we've added 2 million people to Minnesota. So we all know that there's a lot more. And the thing about getting camaraderie with your competition, you guys that are listening, it's a good idea. And there's many, many reasons why. And one of the biggest ones is you will all help each other. Because if this guy, if you get a tire kicker, and the guy comes over to Dentcraft and I tell him $300, and then he drives over to see Johnny, and because we're both using Mobile Tech RX, Johnny says $300, and then they go to someone else and they go $65, right? And then another guy says 125, and it's like we've just kind of shown them that this isn't any type of a good business here. This is Tijuana blanket. This is a Macy's blanket. There's somewhere in between. People are all over the place. I think if we can find a common number, I don't mind losing the dent to Johnny for 300 because he quoted 300. I don't want to lose it to the guy that charged 60 because he just totally made us look like a fluke business. I'm included in on that, by the way. And then that guy that charged $60, it's going to look like shit, possibly, right? Because he's not going to spend the amount of time that you and I would to glass that thing out.
Oh, definitely. There's no way you could and still survive if you're doing a $300 dent for $65.
It just
you're not going to last long anyway.
Doesn't work.
Yeah, but
so
what do you do?
I'd rather lose it for even money,
Oh, absolutely, yeah. If we're within 10% of each other, I think we're doing pretty dang good.
And I think we look more legit that way to everybody too,
Yeah, and
if we're just starting to get the lingo going about paintless dent repair, last thing you want to do is people saying, "Oh, those guys are all over the place. This guy's this guy's that." This is a game. This is not a solid business plan. This doesn't seem right, Yeah. I hate that.
The good news is these pricing guides are out there, the software's out there, and more guys are adapting it. And I haven't run across. I mean, I can remember, before any of these pricing guides, being told guys were all over the map very consistently. Yeah. And now I get calls all the time, and somebody says, "Oh, I got a tiny dent. What's it going to be?" and they just really want an answer. And I said,
Right.
you know, I'll tell them, you know, typically we start at about $150 for, you know, something a quarter or smaller, and you know, depending on access and this and that. And more I am hearing, well, that's kind of what everybody has been telling me.
Mm-hmm.
When, you know, can you come out and take a look at it? And so that's good news, I think. I think
so too.
more and more guys in our, definitely in our market, are adapting these.
Yeah. And I think it has a lot to do with us all getting together and become friends, you know, and really knowing each other's self-worth. And I've just got mad respect for all of you guys, because we all know that you're as good as your worst guy in any situation. And that's why I want to surround myself with friends like you, man. Like, you know, all the guys that we had at those 23 guys that we had that day, some of the best. Going back to Ryan Anderson, I said to all you guys before we started, you guys, this is a Toys for Tots drive. We did 30 grand, by the way. Anybody listening, we did $30,000 worth of toys. It was unbelievable. So it was crazy. Sick. It was so great. And if it wasn't for COVID this year, we'd have done it. We're doing it next year for sure, right? Are we all on for that? Good.
Definitely.
But it's interesting how we talked in the morning and we said, okay, guys, let's just do, you know, maybe the size of our hand. Let's not get into too many things. Let's not get into too deep. We can move it much quicker. You know, if they're $500, $600, $800 dents, it probably doesn't make sense for us to do it this way. Let's get them on the schedule, whatever, you know, and just push them off, whatever. So about 3 hours in, elbows are flying. We've got Ryan Anderson yanking a door off of a car. We've got the Verdict boys pulling doors off cars. We've got, you know, everybody is knee, ass, and elbows, and we're starting to do $1,000 doors. I mean, it was like, what are we doing, you know? And we were doing it for like $100 stuffed animal. I mean, and it still didn't slow us down. What were we doing? But it was amazing.
I put Q on. Q asked me, well, what's going on with this car? I was working on a Mustang, and I'm like, oh, there's another ding on the other side if you want to knock that one out. And I mean, that sucker was
that big.
Yeah, it was a good one on the lower body. I just seen him put a light on it. He looked through the window at me, and he was like, really? He's like, don't worry, I got this.
Yeah. It was funny. We broke a window. We broke a window. Remember that?
That's right.
Yeah. And it was so cool because Matt Korzigan broke that window, and he felt so bad, and he continued to work on it. And one of the customers that was a good customer of mine already, he goes, where can I find that window? You know? And I'm like, what do you mean? And he goes, I'll go drive and get that. If you can order it, I'll get it, find it. And I found it right away in town. And I think it was a Mazda or something. And I'll go get it, he says. Well, the Mazda here didn't have it. He had to go to like Inver Grove or something. And he was gone for like 2 hours. That lady's waiting in the waiting room. And he comes back, and I wanted to pay for Dentcraft, you know. And he goes, I got it. No problem. You know, here a customer, you know, paid it forward for the kids, and you know, just everybody came together. It was such an amazing event. I'm still blown away by the kindness and the generosity of everyone involved.
Wow, I thank you for putting it on, Don. Like I think anybody that was there felt great to have been there. I know I did. It was an honor.
It was fun. To be there. We had a blast.
It was so much fun, and it feels so good when you.
It did. We all had so much fun, and what we'll have to do, and it was fun. We all had all our wives there doing all the donuts and putting everything together, and the coffee, and it was just fun to have us as a group like that, you know.
Yeah. Can't wait.
We'll do it again.
Speaking of groups, are you going to MTE this year?
So this is weird. I haven't made my deal, but I was going to do it yesterday, and then I didn't. But it's the longer I wait, the cheaper it gets. I actually went online yesterday, and I punched it in, and it was Delta on the way down and Southwest on the way back. $85.
I paid 88 through Sun Country. Yeah.
Oh my God. I was laughing so hard, but I wasn't about to do it. I was just looking. So I'm trying to get off the site and it goes, oh, wait, don't leave. We have coupons. We can make this much better for you. I was like, how can you get better than, you know, come on. Where's it going to get down to $53 or something? So
it was 44 each way. And then
that's so
I had a voucher that I have to use before the end of March anyway.
Oh, perfect.
And I upgraded us every possible upgrade you can get. And Sun Country's a discount airline anyway, but
sure.
Every possible upgrade, and I still couldn't use my voucher all the way. So
I talked to Vitaly almost every morning from Glexo.
From Glexo,
yeah. We've got a couple things in the works that are coming out soon, and it's amazing how they were going to go right. And then they just heard that from Kevin Halewood. We don't know for sure yet. He's going to let them know in the next day or two. But Kevin had reached out to them because they've got a booth. Glexo's got a booth and all of it and getting ready for it. But he reached out and said this whole thing might be canceled. He'll let them know within about 24 hours of, and that was, I think, this morning. So we should know by tomorrow. But there's a strong possibility, Kevin was saying, that it might be.
No.
So, and I'm praying that that's not true, because they really want to come over, and I'd love to see them. I'd love to see all you guys, and I want to see the Birdmen, you know, Mr. Kev and all the peeps. And I heard Vinny was going.
I haven't heard anything to that effect.
I haven't either. I just heard it this morning, so I am hoping it's a total. You know, I hope it's wrong. Hope it's wrong.
Me too.
So.
Me too. Yeah,
I will. As soon as I hear about that, I'll call you
everybody
tomorrow.
will know.
Yeah,
by the time this comes out, everybody will know.
We'll all be down there anyway, just together. We should just make our own party. We don't need anything else.
Yeah, well,
get her done.
Like I said, I got to use that voucher by the end of March anyway. So
right.
I might as well just go.
Absolutely.
I'll be the only one there. I don't care.
I think there's a lot of people still going. So that's good.
Yeah. We'll figure it out. Yeah. But all right. Well, anything else? What else is coming up for you, Donnie? I know you got tons of plans in the works and tons of things coming up. Is there anything you can talk about at this moment that you want to share with the world?
You know, we've got some crazy stuff, and we're about a year behind. Streen and I on in Jean as well, and the three of us trying to do this a couple of different things, and we just keep running into these roadblocks because we want to make it. We just want to make it great from the beginning, and we're glad we haven't pulled the trigger a few times, but we're closer than we've ever been. And Dave and I just signed up for our second year of Strategic Coach, which is the most amazing deal. It's Dan Sullivan. I feel like I'm in college the last 2 years. You guys we're reading like 14 books a quarter and you know, doing all this paperwork and stuff. It's like mind blowing, but I'm enjoying every minute of it. And it's really what it is. It's about, even though I've been owning a business for 31, 32 years, I don't know a thing about business. Right. I mean, I have winged it the whole time. I'm really realizing this. And some of these things that we've learned in the last few years have been amazing or year, and now going into the second year, I should say, and stuff that we've plugged into our own businesses to just amass a whole bunch more dollars at the end of the day, and different, you know, techniques of getting business. And so we got a lot of exciting stuff to come, and it's kind of a teaser, but we're real excited to bring everybody to that next level and get recognized and just build something that we all believe in so much. We know we are in a very reputable business, being PDR guys, and we all are. Every dent guy I talk to, it's just so much fun, and the camaraderie, and I can see the passion most of the time, you know, and I just love seeing that. And I just want to try to lift us all up, or be a part of trying to help us become a household name. And it's really my destiny, and what I really want to work on for the next 10 years is really just making us all more money, every individual guy, and doing it better and cleaner and faster, and all the while building our businesses very reputably. And Dave is just a perfect partner for that. We have just great talks daily, and we've just got so much. We're actually building a playbook. We're gonna have a playbook to follow, and just have a streamlined way for people to apply this and get them into brick and mortar if that's what they deserve or want to do, or not deserve, excuse me, want to do, or if the guy wants to stay out on the road, how to multiply that, you know. And it's funny, I've done it all. Dave's done it all. A lot of us have, and it's really actually figuring out now with all this schooling we've been having, and we just signed up again for a second year. We got 50K into it now, guys, 50K into our learning. So it's we're getting in deep. We're getting in deep, but it's amazing. It's worth every dime. I'm not saying it isn't. And you guys will be, you know, paying fractions of not even call. It'll be the cheapest thing you ever do, but because that's what we want to do. We just want to build up the whole PDR community in a major league way. But I know that's a lot of teasers there, but it's fun, it's exciting, and I've been very, very passionate about it. As of Monday morning, I am not going into Dentcraft anymore. Dan and Troy are going to take care of everything, and I'll stop in maybe once a week just to see how things are going. But all my heart and soul and everything is going to be in this new venture with Dave and John and all of us, and we're gonna really be coming out strong here in the next month or two. And they've kind of got Dentcraft working on its own, and it's just a well-oiled machine, and they don't need me there. I feel like I'm in the way. So, and then when I'm there, I feel like I'm a fireman and I'm putting out fires, and I'm not really working on my business. I'm working in my business. And that's what we want to teach you guys, is how to work on your business. Because when we're working in our business, we're putting out the fires that are directly in front of us that day, but we're not really thinking about a week out, 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out, 6 months out, my slow time out, all those things that we need to get in a row to build what we have from the inside out and make us stronger and faster and more streamlined throughout the year to make more steady income and money and be building on those things. So again, teasers, but kind of just as a whole, understanding business a little bit differently and get us all thinking about working on our business instead of in our businesses. So it's pretty exciting. 2021 is going to be pretty awesome. So.
All right. Well, I mean, if you could just shut up and take my money, I will set up that program right now, Don.
So
I can't imagine anyone better carrying the torch, and I know you guys are going to do a great job. And yeah, I'm excited for you, and I'm excited for anybody and everybody that gets involved. So
appreciate it.
Can't wait to see what that'll bring. But But yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else I missed? Anything else you wanted to talk about, or
no, buddy? I'm just honored to be on here, and I love the Dents and Dreams. That logo, it just brings me back.
Yeah. Well, you gotta have fun with it, man. I
mean, absolutely. And I love how you matched you guys didn't see this, but when we got in here, I was at Johnny's shop, and when I was at his shop, he made me feel very comfortable because he changed the lights around the deal to blue and white. Like he made it Dentcraft colors, and now he's got it.
We can get it all Dentcraft for you here.
There you go. Nice.
Yeah.
That is so cool. That is so cool.
We always got to have fun with everything we're doing if we can. Yeah. That's the way I look at it. I mean, there's no reason not to.
Well, we're always having fun when we're around you, brother. I'll tell you that.
Well, we try.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, business is good, and it's good to make a good living. But if you can't have fun while you're doing it, in my mind, it's
truth. That is the absolute truth. Some of the funnest days are when you actually drive home at night. I know you guys feel this way too, but you realize, what you did that day. We touched on it for a second, but it's just amazing. Have you guys ever thought about how, and I know that you and I have talked about this, John, like, the wife comes in I took my husband's car. He's out of town. I parked that SL right in the front of Target there, and he always parks out in the back 40. And I tell him, what are you doing? And I got a dent in his car. I got to get that out, or I'm going to get divorced. I need to get this done now. I need to pay cash for it. Can you get it done? Absolutely. You get the son, right? I took Dad's car. He's out of town. Oh my God. You got to save me, you know, and so I feel like we're saving marriages, we're saving groundings, we're saving so much more than that person's car sometimes. Then it's just fun, and I love the stories and that people come in with. Sometimes they get a little old. I know we all feel that way. Hey, you know, it happened on Friday night, and the wind was out of the southeast, and it was about 20 miles per hour. And the sun was coming down over here, and that had nothing to do with the dent. And then I got out of the car, and someone hit my car. You know, it's like, okay, man, I see the dent. Let's just take care of that and move on. You know, so, but it's always fun to hear their rants. You know.
Yeah, well, you gotta love it. You absolutely have to love it. And
you do.
You can't.
Without the story, there's not the dent. So I'm in for the listen, right? So.
Absolutely. Let's do the quote of the day, Don, and shut her down.
I mean, yeah, buddy. What is the quote of the day?
I gotta go get another one of those. But,
nice.
And
I'm babbling, so I apologize. I've been drinking some IPA Furious,
that's good
and it's
stuff.
really good. So it makes me babble. So hopefully some of this makes sense at a later date. You know,
Don. Anybody that doesn't like listening to you talk, I wouldn't understand that person anyway. But quote of the day. So an entrepreneur tends to bite off a little more than he can chew, hoping he'll quickly learn how to chew it. So yeah, I like it. I mean, going back to what you know, you and Dave and John and are working on. I think we've all been just chewing our faces off trying to get through this thing called PDR. And you know what, we're very blessed in that overall it's a pretty low overhead business, and overall once you have the skill, it's pretty easy to run a business as a technician if you're familiar with the E-Myth vernacular. But I think a lot of us could do a lot better job within our businesses and do a lot better job to grow this thing. And I hope we all do that in 2021 and just try to grow and keep growing. You know, if you're not an accomplished PDR technician to this point and that's where you need to grow, then that's where you need to focus. But a lot of us are, and there's a lot of guys like me, mobile guy, one-man show, trying to grow, but we don't know where to go from here. And there is so many PDR companies in my position. One-man show, I can't push anymore. I can't push any more business. I mean, I have to turn work away some days. I have to, you know, I'm kicking the can down the road all the time. Maybe not so much this time of year, but definitely in the summer. And I think we all have a lot to learn in that respect. And I can't wait to see. There's multiple avenues within our industry of guys bringing that kind of information to the forefront. And I just hope more and more guys start picking up those bits of information and running with that torch. So, geez, I'm getting a little preach. Let me get off my soapbox. Everybody, just do your best, but in the meantime, have a beer, and it's all going to be okay.
Absolutely.
So, anything else you want to add, Donnie?
No, buddy. I am good. I'm honored to have been on your gig here, and I know you've been talking about it for a while, and I'm proud of you for making it happen. I've been talking about it for 2 years, and I still haven't made it happen. So
yeah, well, I'm kind of in the same boat. I think we both started talking about it around
Yeah.
the same time.
Yeah, you beat us to it. But you'll be seeing our podcast here probably within the next 2 months at the very latest. It takes 6 weeks once we get started and to get it going, and it's going to be called Dent Talk. Is our Dent Talk? Yes, and so.
Well,
they're all.
You'll be in my ears as I'm fixing.
We'll have you on in return, so it'll be great.
I love it. Yeah, well, anything we can do to lift each other up. I'm
absolutely,
sure we'll do
brother.
So.
I love you like a brother. So I'm so glad to have you in my corner, and absolutely. So you're one of the good guys, brother. So thanks for having me on.
Shucks, pleasure all mine. All right, everybody, we're out of here. Live your dreams. Thanks again for listening or watching, I guess.